Welcome, race fans, to Madeira Racing on ShortTrackTV this week. Let me see what microphones we've got open. We hear a little echo up here. Outback Andy, how are you doing today?
I am doing awesome, Kenny. Some open wheel racing tonight with Fender cars, so it's a nice little combo event, and I really do like these combo events with the open wheels and Fender cars together.
Well, and what fans may have thought they saw right there, it said going live shortly. That was actually live video stuck in that box of our little graphic. And unfortunately, we've had two of the legends of Kearney Bull Cars. Andy was just mentioning prior to that accident, it was their heat race, and two of them impacted the turn 1 wall, actually turn 2 wall, with a lot of speed. They were flying around here, but that took down two cars. It looked like one rolled away, so hopefully it'll be all right.
Well, yeah, hopefully that 84 car, TJ Stubbs, that car is Stubbs, a very fast car. He's from up towards Chico Way, and that car was getting around here super fast with the Yockey car today, and I was watching them out of turn 2, and the amount those cars were moving around on the straights was amazing. Those cars have got a lot of horsepower in those cars, and they really move around the racetrack.
Now, the good news, fans, as Andy mentioned, these combo shows, 48th Annual Harvest Classic. We're excited about that. Good news is we've got some super modifieds in the pit area versus wing sprint car, and we've got some midgets. The bad news is we've already lost a couple of them. So we're a little bit behind. We thought would be at opening ceremonies right now. But we had a super break a suspension component. That took a little time. We had a midget blow an engine up. The guy said, I think the parts that were supposed to be in the camshaft area were down in the pan. So that wasn't a good deal. So we've lost a few cars, and with 3 incidents this afternoon, we're about 45 minutes behind schedule. So what the fans will get to see right now are some Madeira late model heat race action. This is the fast heat. Jason Aguirre on the pole, and race fans, Jason Aguirre knocked that thing down into the 14-second bracket in qualifying in the middle of the afternoon, 14.989. Aaron Mullins right behind him, so that'll put Aaron on heat race number 2, the pole, I believe, the way they lined them up. Aaron was almost in the 14s, 15.020, flying around the racetrack right now.
Yeah, I saw Sheldon Cooper down there. They had some issues with the right front, and good to see that 09 car back on track too, Kenny Shepard.
We've got some fans out there, and what we'll have for you right now, we've got 1 camera fired up. We've got a 4-camera shoot. We brought Zach in. We've got Doug, our grandstand cameraman from our TV show. He's on tonight. That's the camera you see. Zach will be on his floating cam, kind of flying around, doing a little bit different take on the interviews and giving us some different footage. And then we've got the Frank camera and then the turn 4 cam. Let's see who else out there. Bob Buff, here we go. Ron DeFlore, hi, y'all. Right Hoss Racing, yo-yo. George Reed, hi from Nevada. Roger Holloway, Go Casty from Oregon. Eve Allen, hey guys.
Make sure you let us know where you're from too. So when you comment, let us know where you're from, who your favorite driver is, and favorite cars are, and we'll try and give you.
You got your YouTube up over there where you can read the comments. Andy, we
have.
Craig Nelson, Dave Pereira, Ron DeFlore, like I mentioned. Angela, our #1 fan. Angela, where's your horn? Here, she's just right behind the speedway. Unfortunately, can't come out. Seth Bowles, we're not so sure who that is, but he's watching from Las Vegas. Steve Fernandez, Veterans Home. Fernandez, pardon me.
Who's
Seth?
Who's
Seth? You know who Seth is?
I think we know who he is.
Yeah.
Okay, so our late models on the racetrack, the 45 of Jason Aguirre, alongside the
heat race number 1, Andy.
Yep, heat race number 1, Trevor Schlunt. John Schlunt in the 21, Sheldon Cooper, and I believe that 09 is Kayla Eshelman, I believe.
Schlunt was a little bit loose on the entry of turn 1, but he is up on the wheel. The high side is not really come in yet this weekend. We did a little magic sauce, a little barbecue sauce on the bottom to heat it up and to speed it up before the short track shootout next week. So the bottom's actually been the preferred groove this weekend. We like to mix it up. We work on this track sometimes like it's a dirt track, so you never know what you get. But my anticipation will be next weekend we're going to have 3 equal grooves if I have my way.
Yeah, Jason Aguirre starting to look good in that 45 car, and Trevor Schlunt in that battle with Lily Mead for the points. So it's important for Trevor that he gets every point he can during these heat races, qualifying and main events. And that 28, that Dennis Order pair looking good today.
Yeah, 28 Trevor Schlunt. You're talking, what, was it a point difference or something coming into the weekend? Just about a tie. This is the second to last race. We've got an announcement we're going to make here a little bit later tonight, a big announcement about the finale. But Sheldon Cooper inside of Kayla Eshelman, and that Kayla, it's Buddy Shepard spotting and coaching Kayla in that 09 car. On the monitor right now, Doug's got us on that battle. No spotting required. He's programmed. He just knows where to put those cameras. Sheldon Cooper running third right now.
Yeah, Sheldon pretty fast on the racetrack. Remember, Sheldon came from the back. Took his time to get through a little sideways out of turn number 2 for Sheldon Cooper, trying to put a move on that 28 car push up the racetrack.
Watch something here. Watch how hard the 89 cuts. It's cutting a lot better through the center. 28 sliding that right front just a little bit in the middle of the corner. If Sheldon gets a little bit of run here, watch how fast he gets through the center compared to 28. Lights out right there. Digging off the corner. Sheldon's got the white flag, and I think you'll see him roll off of turn 2, pending how hard Schlent drives the outside going into turn 3, Andy.
Yeah, Schlent got up on the outside, but couldn't make that move normally he can, and Kayla got to the inside of him. So Jason Aguirre, Racing Jason, goes on to win.
Battle for
Sheldon
third.
Cooper second, and I think
Eshelman.
Kayla Eshelman for third.
By about 6 inches, maybe a foot.
Yeah, Trevor Sunk lost a couple of positions, not good. Lily Mee coming up in a separate heat, but how about it for Racing Jason Aguirre in that Waterford Irrigation Corbin Cash entry?
Well, and I think what you'll see here, like we were chatting about, is you will see now Lily Mead will have the opportunity. If she can finish top 3, she'll pick up a point there on Trevor, which could be really valuable as we go. Again, this is the next last race, or basically, I think you can give us what the points were, Andy. You can look them up there, but they were basically tied. I think Lily had him by a point or 2.
Maria Rotella has just signed in from Fresno, and
I saw Indiana on there. I saw
Bill Phillip from San Jose. Jeff Pavey here in Missouri. Go Joseph Holiday. Yes, Joseph Holiday in a midget. That's pretty exciting.
We've got Tony from Anderson, Indiana. Eve from Henderson, Nevada. Kersey Young and team are watching. Kersey, you might want to really pay attention tonight. We did a little bit of work on the racetrack, and the bottom groove is alive, we will say right now. Let's see, from Vegas, got an Oregon in there, jumping around. Well, we'll have some fun tonight. It'll happen in a hurry. It's more of a club-style night, so we'll have this heat race number 2. We had 14 late models took the qualifying bell. We had 17 late models last night. San Antonio, Texas. How's the weather down there, Brian, in San Antonio, Texas? I'm actually looking at a smoker down there. Angela, having a beer, getting hungry. Well, I can barbecue, but unfortunately we're at the track and Angela's at home, and we've got a Mission Foods barbecue coming up Outback Andy. They're sponsoring. Another announcement we'll make tonight on October. We set the deal up in August. October the 16th, before championship night on the 17th. Mission Foods is sponsoring a big barbecue for our race teams. Down the back straightaway we go. Like I said, we had 17 of them last night. 14 made qualifying. I heard we've got one that's in trouble, not going to make the main. So Aaron Mullins looking good coming off of turn 4. That car has been really fast, Andy.
Yes, it is. Aaron Mullins. The outside was Mike Shapiro. The stuntman, Del McIntosh in the 26 car, and the 5 is Eric Seeley. So Mullins getting away. And interesting, Howard Holden is spotting for Aaron Mullins today, not for Sheldon Cooper. Hunter will be doing that. So Howard Holden in the ear of the 21 of Mullins, and that should be good for Aaron Mullins too, having the experience of Howard Holden in his ear for the race.
Yeah, it might be interesting if Holden gets together with Cooper running. They're both about the same speeds. Must be using the same setups, too. The car has a real similar look. I believe that's a Port City that Aaron made a road trip and went way back east and picked up. See a little movement on the right rear of the 21 car. I don't know if it's just an illusion with the way the tire looks, but watch that right rear when he comes by this next time. We're on monitor right now is Eric Seeley in the 5 car, but we're talking about Aaron Mullins, the leader in the 21 car. Watch when he lifts.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
There's a little something there when he lifts. There's a little geometry going on there. We've seen that with a few of the cars, including the Buddy Shepard cars. But when they lift or they're in transition, things kind of move a little bit. Kind of like the dirt modifieds do, Andy.
Yep. Yeah, those dirt modifieds, they move a lot. But that was pretty noticeable that time out of turn number 4. Now you picked it up. Kenny Shepard, being an ex-race car driver, can spot things from a mile away, and a little sideways out of turn 4. But Shapiro Shapiro was shown a lot of promise. Just can't keep pace with that 21, which was really surprising me. Thought Mike Shapiro might have been the guy to win this heat race, but
yeah, Mike's been really fast. Ray Miller's got that car hooked up. Ray Miller told me, don't mention my name anymore.
Yeah.
I said, come on, Ray. All right, I won't. So, Ray Miller, hi, how are you doing? Shapiro's just been rolling the corners. That's a truck arm car. And, you know, if there's a car that I would do battle with, a straight rail truck arm car would probably be a weapon I would pick around here, because I think that car would have to have a tremendous amount of forward bite on those Hoosier 970s. Let's jump back out. Let's see. Tony, Brian, weather's been good in Indiana also. Looks like we've got some good weather down there in Texas. Thanks for that report. Actually, the reason I ask about Texas, my wife wants me to build a racetrack there, Andy, so she's trying to get us every time we run into somebody, hey, let's move to Texas, and I can fly my airplane back out here to California and run races. Hit that like button. Boy, you know, that's actually a really good point.
Yep.
The more likes we get, the more people watch this, the more we can get people to watch it, the more Nut Up Industries and Mission Foods likes to pay the bill to keep these free. You know, there's a friend of mine's racetrack tonight. Ironically, they're doing $19 for a local show, and then another $29 to watch the touring show. So we're doing these for free because of you guys watching, and hopefully you're making the purchases of Nut Up. Angela, Kenny, you're killing me. I want a barbecue. Boy, we've got a barbecue coming up. We're going to do a couple of them. I've said many times we're going to make a couple of announcements here later tonight on Short Track TV. We're going out the backside of this season, 2020, with absolutely standing on the gas pedal. We've got a big announcement about the finale for the junior late models and the finale for the Madera late models. We're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to go out with tires smoking and gas pedal all the way down on the mat with big money shows and a lot of fun. Tom Bean, hello from Farmland, Indiana. This is my daughter, Jessica Bean.
Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay. So Jessica is the one that blew the engine. So I'm glad we got that report. One of the guys next door we're talking about. Tom, let me know. Does she live in North Carolina now? Because they were talking a lot about North Carolina with Jessica. So let me know if she resides in North Carolina right now and is originally from Farmland, Indiana, or if she lives in Farmland.
Yeah, we got someone there from Nashville, Tennessee, and they're going go the 45. I know Jason Nagiri has some people sponsor that race. We get ready for heat number 3 of our late models. Kenny Shepard, the 16 of Lily Mead, starting on the pole alongside Calvin Hedgie, 2 former junior racers, and the 17 out there on camera right now, Kenny Knott.
That's a racing name.
Yes, that is a racer from Watsonville.
Racing
Kenny
name.
Knott.
Now, who did not make the start here? Brian Collins,
Brian
right?
Collins, yep.
Brian Collins, brand new late model he's put together. Brian's really good modified racer and trying to get that dialed in. So Lily has an opportunity to jump a few points right now in a major way, Andy. If she could take care of business here, she would gain about 3. Oh, Hedgie, right on her back bumper. She could gain 3 points.
What happened
there.
then is Lily pushed up the track and ran Hedgie up wide, and I don't think Kelvin was pretty happy about that. Lily catfishing down the bottom. She's just trying to make that 16 car, that Mead performance car, super wide and try and keep Kelvin out. Like you said, a lot of points to be gained here, so she needs to be careful.
Yeah, she's going to gain 3 points right here. And so she definitely doesn't want to get into a fight with Hedgie and think a little bit bigger picture. And let's look here. Let's see. Lily was out-qualified by Trevor Slunt. Neither one picked up any points in qualifying. So Lily should probably let him go, even though it's not in the racer's DNA anyone to say let him go. But this is a good example. We've got a few of our other juniors watching on the broadcast right here. We worked over the bottom of the racetrack, and we worked the top in a few weeks back. So a little curveball going into the short track shootout. Those of you out there in racer land that are planning on coming here for the big show next week, the biggest of the season, you might want to pay attention. The bottom groove is in business right now, and that was an example. A week ago, Lily would have just walked right past him on the outside.
Yeah, Lily was running a good line up there, but unfortunately there's not enough traction up there for her. And Ken gets up there, and you see Lily jump on the gas out of 2. You normally get a slingshot out of there. It was actually sliding that car sideways. So Lily might want to rethink this, jump to the inside, and like you say, be friends to Calvin Hedgie. Let Calvin grab the heat race. And
I think Lily's setup, she's just naturally loose. You can see that even down the bottom where it's really grippy. There's actually a fair amount of grip up top, but her car's just loose on exit. She had a major suspension failure last night when she went in the wall down here with that throttle incident. It was right front suspension failure. Last night, the left front suspension failed on that car, and she about tried to knock down the turn 3 wall. So that team's been working really hard. But that is still 2 valuable points from the heat race as we move forward over Trevor Slunt.
Yes, it is.
She finished 2nd. Trevor finished 4th.
So Lily picks up a couple of points on Trevor Slunt there. So that's a good deal for Lily Mead and Kenny Knott.
Yep.
Back in 3rd. Good to see Kenny back here, former dirt racer.
Let's jump back over to our fans. Some of the comments out there. Okay, Tom Bean, she lives and works in Greensboro, North Carolina. Radical race gear. So that's what the guys were talking about. She's in North Carolina. So someone with a lot of passion, another young lady. We've had a lot of them come through our junior late model program. So young lady from Indiana living in North Carolina. It's probably the 2 racing capitals on planet Earth in my book when it comes to Indianapolis and Charlotte, North Carolina. Michael McMean's on the road. He's out playing Elvis tonight. Andy, I didn't know if you know that or not. But Michael's, he's going to be Elvis. Yeah, he's got a gig. It's going to be Elvis tonight. He's the kid's pretty good, but don't tell him if Michael's listening. Don't tell him he's any good.
Yep. Heard he's reasonable on the drums.
Reasonable. Yep. Speaking of Elvis, I think one of his family members played drums for Elvis.
Hey, you know who was in the pit area down there today with Brian Collins?
Who's that?
The guy from Cashed Out, the band Cashed Out, Johnny Cash tribute band. Huh. And the lead singer was down there today.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. So he was in the pit area with Brian Collins. He was actually staying up in the Sacramento area. He's based out of San Diego. Good tribute band called Cashed Out. And they've been on Brian Collins' car for a number of years. As we get
Bob Huff is watching from St. Charles, Missouri.
Hey. Well,
my grandma and grandpa were from Bevier, Missouri, northern and southeastern Iowa. A lot of family there, so I love that territory. Shelly Smith, Peanut Butter Pie, Angela. Jason Lawton. Well, Jason's laughing at somebody, but hello, Jason. Best sound guy in the business, so when this COVID nonsense knocks it off and you guys are having your own party, a quinceañera, wedding, whatever, make sure you call Jason. Setting the stage, best sound guys around. A lot of fun. He helps us with our banquet every year where the proceeds go to Children's Hospital, but unfortunately, we're not allowed to have that banquet this year. So we're going to try and improvise with something here on the front straightaway of the Speedway. Kenny, Larry McDonald here. Nice job keeping things going. Kind of miss racing. Might come back to late models. Larry, we're just doing our best, and like I said earlier, we're standing on the gas pedal. We've got some announcements we'll make here in a little bit. We've got our richest race in late model history ever next weekend here at the Madera Speedway. We've got 2 other really exciting events coming up we're going to announce here tonight. Working hard on the sponsors, and this COVID stuff just sucks. There's no way around it. No fans in the grandstands. It's horrible. You can't pay the bills without hot dog sales and 805 and Twisted Tea sales. But I hustled some more sponsors, and we're hard-headed, and we decided, you know what, we're going to give our fans this content for free. We want you guys to be engaged and enjoy this. We want to grow the sport instead of shrinking it. And look what is on the racetrack right now, Outback Andy.
Yeah, super modifieds and sprint cars. Yep. I'll take you run down through these cars. The number 2 in the Sanger Tire, Caps Coating, Colorado Race Engines, Patent Racing Engine. It is the number 2 of Donnie Large Jr., the number 2 sprint car in the Derek Carter Enterprises, Black Living Water, Gowan's Race Engines, Brighton Academy, the number 2 Austin Carter. We move to the number 19, the veteran in the super modified in the Salon Blonde, number 19, the legendary Art McCarthy. We move now to another one of our super modifieds, and that will be the 32 that will start up front in the Maga Naylor Towing Agrite Enterprises Full Circle Brewing, number 32. It is Jim Burgess. The final car out there, the number 7. Racing for Hayes Brothers Racing, Caps Coating, Starknate Enterprise, and Shorties. It is Tim Skoglund.
What they're doing right now is a little bit of hot lapping, put a little heat in the tires. Kind of interested. Burgess will start on the outside of Carter. That sprint car will fire off and fly around this place until it wears the right rear off of it. Burgess has those giant wings on the car. The bottom side of the racetrack's better, but you may see Burgess completely pave the top side of the racetrack in an 8-lap heat race. So I'm going to predict that 32 car is probably going to give Carter a really hard time on the outside if he doesn't whip him up there.
Yeah, that's a good-looking car, too. Jim Burgess. Jim Burgess is pretty experienced in these cars, so let's see what he's got. Row 2. Good to see Donnie Lights Jr. back, too. Maybe a tribute to Donnie Lights Sr. tonight.
A little bit later, here comes the green flag out back. Andy roaring, and oh boy, Carter smoked Burgess off of turn 4. Here comes Burgess, big run on the outside. He's gonna, oh no, even up down the back straightaway, door to door. Let's see what Burgess does here in 3 and 4, Andy.
Yeah, Burgess, wow.
Push, big push out of Burgess.
Yeah, that guy was going
tight again, tight again right now. It's real tight center. Carter's loose off. Watch the front tires of Burgess right here. Look, let's see. He's going to turn. He changes his angle a little bit. Still pushed hard. Yep. Burgess' car is so tight right now. So tight. Yeah, got McCarthy beating on his back bumper right here in just a second.
Certainly going to need to loosen that car up a little bit on Jim Burgess.
We'll get Doug to go back up to the second place battle here. We'll be on Burgess. We'll go right there at second place. This isn't over yet. Burgess still trying to make this thing work. He is starting to run Carter down. You've got 4 laps to go this time by. Burgess setting the hook for him right in the center of the corner. Big, hard apex. Burgess even with that push in that car. Watch the drive off this thing, Andy. Here he comes.
Yeah, I tell you what, though, Austin Gardner has been very good in the sprint car in Northern California.
Oh, Burgess about to knock the wall down there.
Yeah, Burgess have to be careful here because Scoglin's to the inside. Now he...
That's Scoglin or McCarthy?
No, that McCarthy. Sorry, out McCarthy.
Yep, Scoglin broke. Yep. Burgess wears out that right front. That was just enough for Carter to get away, but you've still got 2 laps to go. Watch how fast Burgess can close on Carter right here. Carter, turn 4. You're going to see a little bit of looseness here. Let's see if Carter does it again. Carter crossed the track. White flag is out, Andy.
Yep, white flag is out for Austin Carter.
Here comes Burgess.
He'll try everything he can going down to the 3 and 4.
But he's not going to be able to cross him over here. Not at all. So let me get it right back up here real quick. I think I caught it in time right there, Andy. I think I caught it. Nope, login error. Damn it.
Did it go down, Kenny?
Yeah, I think we got it back up. Here, resume. Yeah, we got it back right.
Well, I believe we're back with you. What ones didn't I get? The 17. I didn't get the 17. The Steve Johns, right?
No. Yes, but he's not here.
Not here. Okay.
And then
Well, guys, happy birthday. Please come over and join us on the YouTube ShortTrackTV and remember next week 10,000 win balls will be on that TV and ShortTrackTV next Saturday night.
Well, welcome back to the Madeira Speedway live stream. So we get ready for our Legends of Kearney Bowl down there. And, of course, tribute to Kenny Takeuchi today, and also to Donnie Lars Jr. Jumping in the announcers booth with me, Randy Wright. Welcome along to the Madeira Speedway Short Track TV live stream.
What a pleasure it is to be here with you guys.
Yeah, good.
Just a reminder, this is a tribute from our group to Craig Yockey as well.
Yeah, exactly. Craig, unfortunately, passing away just a few short weeks ago now. So we lost some good guys in the last 12 months. So we're thinking of everybody that we lost. And talking about Kenny, you and I were talking about this in the pit area today. I first met Kenny in 2002 at Hanford at the Cotton Classic, and some of the stories that he was able to tell in the announcers booth, and I always used to say this on air. It was always a pleasure and an honor to be in the booth with Kenny Takeuchi, an absolute walking encyclopedia. Every time I would see him at the racetrack, he would come up and to everybody, he'd make a point of saying hello. And with all the legends of Kenny Bowl, he would make a point of going around talking to every race car driver before every race. He was really old school. And I know you've known him for a lot longer than I have, and over the years, he would tell you the stories, and some of the stories that he can tell, even ones back when they used to race 4 nights a week, and they'd race Altamont on a Sunday, and they'd have to get down to the Fresno area for Sunday night. And just he grew up in the racing era was very, very big. You know, you could race 5 nights a week here in California.
Yeah, he was a great announcer, and he was a great historian of racing in Central California. But he was one of the finest human beings you'd ever want to meet. And every time he would come talk to me, whether it was here or at another location, the first thing he would ask me is, "How's your family?"
Yeah.
And so he was just that kind of guy, and he's definitely missed.
He certainly is. And like I say, he'd always asked how everybody is, how the family was, and how you've been going. So we kind of miss that, and it's hard not having him around. And we have a great field of cars out here today, and I think Kenny will be pretty proud of the field we've assembled for our tribute race tonight.
I guarantee he would be happy with the turnout tonight, and he would also be walking and greeting every one of these drivers in the pit area, telling them how honored he was that they were here to pass on a tribute to him.
Yep, it was. He used to love doing that, and we're going to fire up these cars, and we'll let you know who's out there in these super modifieds.
Mm-hmm. Leading the pack right now is Craig Yockey's son, Stan Yockey, in the 4 car, and Stan has a big racing history as well. Behind him, Mr. Hutton, whose dad was a legendary super modified driver, Herman Hutton. Chinoyans are well known in the area, number 42.
That is a great piece of equipment, is it? JP's car.
Yeah. Mike James in the 5 car is a 7-time karting champion.
Yep.
A lot of racing history. The 26, obviously, Dwayne Gerhardt. It doesn't get much better than that. The Gerhardt family here locally. And you can just go back through the field. Tony Perea has a big racing history as well. The Chrisman clan, Kathy's group, they call it Kathy's Corral because they have a couple cars. So these are very fine cars. The 33 car, which I had a privilege of driving 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
You know, it wasn't great finish, but nice little race car, and the family that owns that supports Julie Meridian.
Stubble's out there either.
Yeah.
That car was involved in an incident. I'm not sure how bad the damage was to that car, but obviously enough to put him out of the event today.
Right. The 15 car had some suspension damage, and the Stubble's car had a wing that was tore off, and I don't know the rest of the extent of that damage.
Yeah. I was watching that Stubble's car in practice today, and when he was getting off turn 2, I was down there at the exit of turn 2. Wow, that car was moving around the racetrack a lot. That thing had some amazing amount of horsepower when he was coming out of the turns today, and that car was certainly moving around a lot.
Yeah, a lot of the cars, horsepower-wise, are, I don't want to say similar, but in a generic range. But there are a few cars that obviously have a little bit more than others, and drivers willing to drive them a little bit harder with a little bit more experience as well. There's some drivers, Mike James, he has more laps than probably anybody out here right now.
Mike's one of the younger guys, too.
Yeah, he's probably, in his early 60s?
Yep. You know, Kenny and I, we used to do this. Kenny would always go through the pit area, and he could pretty much tell me on any given night the average age of all of the races, and it was quite surprising.
He
What
was
the average age was.
Yeah, he was really good at that. Of course, he kept such accurate notes, and he would always make it a point to tell everybody the average age was 62 or whatever.
Yeah.
We got a big kick
Most
out of
times it was past retirement age. So.
Right.
And one of the Kenny's, a couple of his comments, like one that really sticks with me is, we always talk about how nice these cars were, and he said, "Well, we're spending our kids' inheritance."
And
Yeah.
and Kenny and I talked. He would sit in the corner up in the grandstands at Tulare, and he would kind of hide out up there. And we would always talk about the amount of money that it took to maintain these, to purchase these cars, to build these cars, and maintain these cars. And I think he was a little astounded how much money we actually had in these cars.
Yeah.
That said, he wouldn't have wanted it any other way.
Yep, it was. He used to say that all the time. These guys are spending their kids' inheritance because these are really serious race cars, and like you say, a lot of these cars have a lot of history to them and are of substantial value to buy a top range car like that.
Oh, sure. The new Jim Perry car, the Ford car, is that thing is beautiful, and the Shinoyan car,
Yep.
absolutely gorgeous. And Kenny Metters just purchased the Woodward car, the '54 car. Now
Yep.
it's beautiful. So there's some real top-notch equipment out there.
Yeah, I was looking at that car in the pit area earlier today, and that was an amazing race car.
So that car has a tremendous amount of history, in that Dwayne Woodward was a track champion in that car.
Yep.
And and of course the car, the new Jim Perry car, was driven by Bill Vukovich. So that's pretty good stuff right there.
That is pretty good stuff, and like we say, there's a lot of name cars out here. We've seen them before with Larry King bringing out some of his cars that are former Vukovich cars as well. So the history is deep in these cars. The history is deep with the guys that are driving them as well.
When we were building my 1X car, because we fabricated that as a tribute car to Howard Cady, and we were building it from the ground up, and we consulted with Howard. We consulted with the Pete Winters family. Unfortunately, Pete passed away before I got the car completed, but we consulted with crew members that worked on that car, and some of the stories that came out of those conversations, like the 1X car, they didn't even run that car half the season. They won I think 14 main events, and they only ran a half a season with that car.
Wow.
So it's just great history, and I love the history. That's what drew me to this to begin with.
Yeah, like I say, the history is deep, and we've seen it with Howard Kading. We've seen that Howard Kading car, the '61 car that's often out here. Don't see it today. See a lot of those cars that have got a lot of history, and drivers. There's drivers come back from time to time that are from the day, and when you see this racetrack, and we can actually put the period cars with the period drivers. There's not a lot of racetracks around the world that can actually do that.
Yeah, and we see Dwayne Woodward running around in the pits periodically. I mean, these guys that come back that are part of this are really legends in the sport, and we're very fortunate to have them around to be a part of this.
I was always saying when Kenny was on the microphone, to actually find the legends of Kenny Bowl, to actually find the original cars, the original drivers, and then you throw in
Joe Kirk, and then the 78's being driven this evening by Eric Essman, which he's kind of filling in Carrie, the owner of that car, is down on crutches right now. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but he has a foot or ankle injury, and so he's got somebody else in the car, and of course Dwayne Gerhardt in the 26.
Yep. Yeah, this will be good to watch with Dwayne in that 26 car.
And then Larry Nix is in the 14, which is coming by us right now. That car's currently for sale.
That'd be a good car to pick up if you want to get a vintage car. This is the way to go. Go and see the crew with that 4 car. Larry Nixon, we're just bringing out the other 4 coming out.
And that car would be Stan Yockey.
Yep.
And it'll be interesting. I had a little discussion with Stan. Craig used to get on me a little bit for going too fast. And I went down and talked to Stan and said, your dad would be very proud right now. And Stan said, yeah, he'd be proud, but he'd be on my butt for going so fast too. So.
Yep. Yes, the Yockey car. That car was getting around. Actually, Stan was getting around pretty good in that car during the practice today. That was one of the cars that I had my eye on. The Stan Yockey car and the CJ Stubbles.
That car, I was there at the San Jose, the Cadian swap meet when that car was purchased. It wasn't purchased at the swap meet, but I passed it going down the freeway and I saw Craig had it, and I took a photo of it, and he kept that photo out of my car and put it in his scrapbook when he was restoring that Otis car. That's a great car.
Yeah, we got Balesio out there now, so he's joined the pack. John Balesio in that Dodge-powered super modified. So the green flag is waving from Flaggy Frank down there, Fearless Frank. And yeah, we're getting safely through turns 1 and 2. And that Yockey car is already on a move, Randy.
Well, that's to be expected. He's a real race driver, a professional race driver. And it won't take him long to get to the front, I don't think.
And I saw you down there in the pit area earlier having a look at one of the cars you were discussing the shockers over. I noticed it was bottoming out on one of those cars. And that's laying over hard again on that 97 car.
Yeah, I've got a few laps under my belt. I started racing in 1972, and you get to look at those kind of things and recognize those kind of things.
So Mike James goes upstairs now. He's going to give it a big run out of turn number 2, and he's going to bring Stan Yockey with him. And Dwayne Woodward starting to get going in this battle now. Dwayne wants to be a part of this battle. That's side by side, those 2 bright red cars. There's a sight to see at Madera Speedway.
Yeah, it's nice. Mike in the 5 cars giving the 78 car plenty of room, and he's not trying to make it all up in one lap, so putting on a good show for the crowd.
Well, Mike James is struggling to get past the leader now. Yockey went to look for the inside. This might have to be a 3-car move here to get around with a lap car down there. That's the 14 of Larry Nix.
Yeah, my guess is Mike James will pick up the pace just a tad right now, now that he's cleared the 78 car.
Well, he's going to have to now, because Stan Yockey is, they went single file, and Stan was pretty quick to catch up to that 5 of Mike James, and Dwayne Woodward is right there in this battle. So this is a good 3-car battle, and Mike James goes up wide, and that's allowed Yockey to get to the inside now.
Yeah, it's nice to see some courtesy on the track with these cars. They're so valuable. It's nice once somebody's faster than you are to give them some room and let them go.
Yeah, and John Balesio, while this has all been going on, Mike James gets passed now by Dwayne Woodward, but John Balesio in that Dodge power car, he's making some moves too. He's caught up to Mike James, so he got a move on that. Checker flag about to fly here, and that will go to Stan Yockey. Wow, Stan has lifting the wheel out of turn number 4. He's really laying that car. Dwayne Woodward gets second, followed by Mike James, John Balesio in the 78 of it's Mike Nassler. And wow, that was some great racing out there, Andy. I know you got a smile on your face. That was pretty special by Stan Yockey and that Craig Yockey number 4.
Anybody that's been a racer in their lifetime, it's kind of tough to sit here. And I was telling a friend of mine I was in a lot of pain. They said, "Well, from the accident a couple of weeks ago." I said, "No, because I don't have a car to drive."
Yes, getting on to that. A couple of weeks ago, you were in the Meridian car and unfortunately ended up on the wall down there in turns 1 and 2. That was a pretty hard hit down there.
Yeah, it was a good one. We had a little mechanical failure. That car runs really well, and I haven't been in a car in 3 years because I have my USAC midgets that I'm working on. And
I was about to get to that in a little while.
Yeah, but we had a mechanical failure, and unfortunately it got the car into the fence. I wasn't hurt too bad. My back's been a little sore for a couple of weeks, but that too will pass.
Yep. There's some good cars out there. The 42, J.P. Shinoyan. What a work of art that car is, Randy.
And big history in that family. The Shinoyan family has fielded race cars here locally for, 30, 40 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, in a number of different divisions, too, with the Shinoyans.
Sure.
Yep. There's some beautiful Shinoyan midgets out there, too. Okay, so the 56 is Wayne Kalushin out there.
That's a really nice little race car. They found that race car in Colorado, and went and got it.
I think you said that was originally a California car and it went to Colorado, and then they brought it back from Colorado.
Yes, Californian had purchased it, and he had moved to Colorado, and then they found that about 4 years ago or so. Really, really nice little race car. Different, got some different features to it, but that was kind of the beauty of these cars back in the day. Is there were no cookie cutter cars. Everybody had their own preference as to how they wanted their car built and what kind of features they wanted. Was it left-hand steering, right-hand steering, with a lot of setback, not much setback?
And you ran these on dirt and pavement as well, these cars.
Absolutely.
Ray Lawson's in the 80, I believe, today.
He is. Ray Lawson has a lot of history. So
Flaggy Frank is in the green flag. JP Shinoyan, the 98. That's a great-looking car, too. That 98 car.
That's Tony Pereira.
Yeah, Tony Pereira. That's a great-looking car. As JP Shinoyan, let's see what JP can do. I know JP was down the pit area. JP was looking pretty serious today. Like that was game face on. It was like race day for JP, and that you just have to. I know we're going to get some really good shots of it online, but just walking around the pit area with the yellow is out. So it was just a hot lap session, I believe, possibly. But yeah, when you get up close to these cars, they are just works of art and amazing.
Well, you have to remember a lot of these cars were built on the floor of a garage. Guys would line out areas on their garage with chalk, and they would start with flat 2x4 pieces of steel, and they would start cutting and start fabricating. And then later, a little bit later, NASCAR became the sanction body up in the San Jose area, and they had specifications as to how the car size, parts and that type of thing.
That was back in the day when NASCAR had, I think they had something like 1,100 or more local tracks, and,
right.
and now it's down to virtually zero. But yeah, they were the days when it was certainly NASCAR sanctioned. I know over on the coast, Watsonville and through San Jose, they're all NASCAR sanctioned, and down through Fresno area. So yeah, it looks like we actually had some debris. There was something chrome on the racetrack, so Not sure what dropped off of one of these cars, but it was probably expensive, whatever fell off anyway. There's nothing on these cars that's a couple of dollars, I can tell you that right now.
Well, one of the things with these cars is you just don't go buy the parts off the shelf.
Yeah.
The parts are available usually if you need them, but you have to look to try to find them.
That's what we often talk, I've done this with Kenny before. We talked about the old days of racing. Everyone was fabricated in the old days. And I know Kenny Shepard, our promoter, is a big fan of like the days when kids used to get out and work on vehicles. And, I knew when I first got my vehicle, I'd work on it with my dad, and with my race car, I'd always be working on it. And nowadays, it's just, there's too much bolt-on stuff you just buy and you go and race. And we got a good race going on up front. JP Chenoyan has got to the lead, but we got a new car in second place now.
Tony Pereira's got a lot of laps as a driver, and he'll give you everything he's got. Nice pass on the outside. I don't think JP has anything for him. I think Tony's going to be off and running here, and I'm not surprised, as he's very experienced.
They were pretty quick to put a lap on Ken Reichert there in that orange number 4. But like you say, Herrera's doing a great job up front. That car is super fast. Wow, that car is locking the wheel all the way through 1 and 2. We'll see if we can catch a picture of that next time. Down in turns 1 and 2, and they keep an eye on that car. Yeah, there it goes again, locking that wheel virtually the whole way through the turns.
So he's basically trail braking with the thing, and that's one thing about the brakes on these cars is they're not like modern day race cars. They don't have the balance capabilities that a modern day race car does. Most of them don't. But so you'll see a little bit of that now and then.
So when they get into the turns and they're laid over on that right front wheel, the left's just going to naturally lock up because it just doesn't have the weight that you haven't applied the brakes harder to stop that right front.
Right, and you can just see Johnny Chenoyan little bobble with his front wheels.
Yep.
Sometimes when you ride the brake, it does a little bit of that. So that the braking systems on these cars are not, they're not what you would see today. Let's put it that way.
Like you said, there were the days when you were something special to drive these cars. A lot of these cars didn't have power steering back in the day. Like you say, they were heavy brakes, and you had to be pushing that brake pretty hard in the turns. Well, it's some great legends of Kearney Bowl, and really want to thank Randy Wright for joining us in the booth. And of course, you own some